We're back with another session of two-year-olds in training. We're at Classy Lane Training Center today with Ben Wallace. Ben, of course, everybody's curious about what this announcement with the Premier is going to be in a few hours, but for the moment we're going to talk two-year-olds. You have 10 of them, and you brought 5 out for us today, starting with a set of 3 trotters. Son of Scott, an Angus Hall that you give $10,000 for at Lexington.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of an afterthought. I bought him on the car on the way home. I'd seen him at the sale. He was consigned by a good friend of mine, Steve Brown from Dunroven Farms, and I loved the colt, but he sold later on Sunday, and I left a bid on him, and I was fortunate enough to get him, and he's been a real nice colt since we've had him. I'm real happy with him. I like the family. It's second and third old Wellwood stuff in there, and that's near and dear to my heart, so we rolled the dice.
What range you been in with your trotters?
They've those 3 have all been halves between 15 and 20. I'm going to say maybe miles and 40-ish, but we've never really concentrated on full miles. We've just been coming halves, but they've all been between 35 and 40. So.
Okay, your man Tom Strauss is on when you indicated might be your favorite, Torch's Star, an Angus Hall filly out of Torch, a filly that Carl Jameson had a few years ago. Anyway, 16.5 at the Standard Canada. So.
Well, she was undersold, no question. I think there was so much question about the industry at that period, and I know that sale was down significantly. But that was a pedigreed filly that I just couldn't let go at that number. I thought she would have been much in another world. She was worth quite a bit more. And she's been a sweetheart since we broke her. Maybe, as Tom mentioned to me this morning on the racetrack, she might be the nice filly we've ever broke here on the trot. She can trot a hole in the wind, and I've been just tickled pink with her. I'm really liking the cadabras on the bottom end. You know, she's off a cadabra mare, a good cadabra mare, as you know. Torch made quality money and was a great filly, and I think that cadabra on either ends is going to show, and it's just starting to show in the maternal line as well.
You yourself took Tsunami, Sealster, a Dewey Cheatham, and Howe colt, $35,000 out of the Forest City sale.
Yes, Lauren Keller and I liked the colt a lot at the sale and we were really happy that I think we give $35,000 for him, and our number was a little higher than that. And he's just been a nice colt. I wish he'd stopped growing, to be honest. He's got to be bigger than maybe we want right at this stage. But I think once he sets in, and extremely great attitude to him. Just tap him on the tail and do whatever you want with him. And those 3 have been a real treat. You know, in the middle of March, sometimes you don't want owners come out and watch trot and colt school because it can be a hectic time of year. They're just finding their speed, they're finding themselves, and right now anybody that owns these things would be more than welcome to watch them go.
Especially with the track just starting to break up here at what, 9:15 or whatever.
Yeah, it's getting a little well. It's, you know, spring is supposed to be coming, right. But yeah, we get it done early enough though that they've been good.
Pacing side, Glamour Boy, $120,000 Harrisburg colt, Whiskey and Pie, a Rock and Roll Hanover. If you don't like him on the track, you just don't like the looks of horses.
Yeah, and that's the way he was at the sale. Brad Grant and I bought him at Harrisburg, and he's another one. He's just been letter perfect since we broke him, and you know, everybody was always a little suspect about Rock and Roll's manners or attitudes or whatever. But this guy's just tap him on the tail and he'll do whatever you ask. And he's a big, gentle colt, very similar to the Apprentice horse, the 3-year-old. He's just a gentleman in the barn. You'll never know he's there, and he's a full-blown colt, but he just goes out and does his business. And again, he's been a real treat to have.
And with him, you brought Keystone Dalton, a Mach 3 colt, $50,000 out of Harrisburg.
Yes, there's a colt that actually Lauren Keller kind of picked him out in the book. He liked the pedigree, and we hadn't seen the colt till I got down there, and he was a real nice colt put together, right? Maybe a little immature at the time, but I thought he'd fill in some spots, which he has over the winter. And again, he's push button, you know. I hate to say idiot-proof, but he's pretty close to that. We put the harness on him, and he's done everything we've asked since day one, and specifically his attitude. I know, again, Tom went with him this morning, and he just tapped him on the tail, and he gathers himself up, and away he goes.
And we were lucky enough to catch you going a mile with Apprentice Hanover, one of last year's top 2-year-olds. Just a reflection on last year, first of all. When it was all said and done, how did you feel about the season?
Well, to be honest, disappointed. I mean, he made, I think, 270 or 250 or 70, 60,000. I can't recall exactly the number, but you know, he got beat half a length. He finished third in the Metro, and I never raced that colt. I never took that colt into a race that I thought I had him right. His white count was always too high. And then he knuckled over one day out here training, and I had a right hind. You know, he come out of it. He wasn't 100%. He got over it, but I missed a couple of significant trainings going into big races, and that hurt him. That hurt him at the wire 2 or 3 times. So whatever money he made on his own. You know, I can't tell you that I was real happy the way I took him into any of those races, and hopefully he regroups this year and he comes back, and when the money's on the line, we're operating on all cylinders.
So 5 months later, when you take a look at him, how do you feel about physically the way he appears to you?
Well, we opted to send him and Big McDeal to Kentucky this winter, and I think it may have been the right thing to do. They were down there for about 2.5 months at Kesmark. It's a rehab turnout facility that's state of the art, and I think we may pay benefits down the road. They both come back looking great. That colt's taller, which I thought I wanted him to be. Him being a son of Beach and obviously Mach 3 family. His size has always been decent, but never overly big. And he's a bigger, stronger horse, which he has to be. And I'm sure the rest of them are the same. But he's certainly kept up with them. I'd feel.
It's always a question of how a crop of horses is going to look. It's never easy, but I think one of the fair questions that's asked is the transition from 2 to 3. There's some beaches somewhere we haven't seen it before. If you got a sense of or a sense of anticipation, do you think they'll make the leap pretty easy?
They'll be the best group of horses ever bred. That's what they'll be.